Go down and click join. Could you
Oui.
up there?
Oui.
Move it down.
Check and see if he sent it to you yet.
Yeah, I just got something from Aaron.
Okay, so open that.
Okay, wait 1 second, Kai. We're just trying one more. We're on, okay?
Oh, excellent. Let's just give people a chance to come on. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our Pirkei Avot Shiur. Le'ilu Nishmat Harav Avram Chaim ben Eliezer Yaakov Zecher Tzadik Livracha and Goldie Miriam bat Avram Chaim Zichrona Livracha. May they both intercede on high on behalf of all of us. Over to you, Dov. You're on mute. Unmute yourself, Dov.
There we go. Okay, can you hear? Hello? Right, we're on. Perek Beis, Mishnah Hey. We'll try and finish off this Mishnah of the 5 statements of Hillel HaZokain. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for being with us this entire year. We just stopped saying Kaddish. And now I'm the Yud Aleph Tishrei, is the Yotzat of Dad, Zaidi. And thank you for learning with us these Mishnayos and Avos for the duration of the year. I think it's been a very special zechus to learn in the year. It should be, our Torah should be a zechus for him, and certainly a zechus for us to learn Torah in his memory, and the Torah that he taught, and to think again of all the lessons that he left us with. So it's a poignant moment in the Shir, and the Mishnah continues as follows. The last 2 halachas of it, the last 2 clauses of the Mishnah. Al toimar davar she'i efshar lishmoya she'sofroi lehishoma. It's a tongue twister. It's very difficult to get your mind around that. See the English as they translate it. Do not make a statement that cannot be readily understood. Shesofroi lehishoma. In the end, it will be heard. It's a tongue twister. I don't know. It's telling us not to make a statement that is not easy to understand, and yet the statement itself is not easy to understand, which is very interesting. So let's take some of the mahalachim of the Meforshim. Number 1, al toimar davar. Do not say something that is impossible to hear on the grounds that it will eventually be understood. That's the one. Let's the entry explanation, although it's really a tongue twister. Don't say that eventually they'll understand. Let me say it now. That's not how you communicate with the rabbin. You're going to confuse people. If you're saying a message, articulate it clearly, clarify it clearly, make it readily understood. Don't speak to the rabbim in esoteric nuances and allusions, because they don't get it. That's the one. Let's move it up 1 level, I think. The Meiri, one of the Rishonim, says something similar. Says, don't say things, it's slightly different. Don't say things she'i efshar lishmoya, that people, you don't want them to hear. Don't say things that you don't want a certain segment of your audience to understand. And you think that you've hidden it from them because they will hear it. It will get out. That's the second. Again, the first one is don't say something that cannot be understood, she'i efshar lishmoya, and say that Shofar lishoma. Eventually they'll get it. Don't speak like that. Speak to the people now. And the message is, don't use hidden allusions and think that people won't get it, because they will get it. I just wanted to mention those two, just to show you the linguistics of this statement is ambiguous and is difficult and is knotty. And it's interesting, he's saying don't say something that's not really that's. Let's move on to, I think, something closer to home. The Rav, Rabbi Yonah, and it's something that certainly Dad spoke a lot about. It says, Al toimar dovor she'i efshar lishma. Don't say things that should not be said now. Shesofoi lehishama. Don't say something that you don't think should be repeated, thinking that it's a secret. Because sofoi, in the end, all secrets are revealed. In the end, sofoi lehishama, it will be heard. So often I heard Dad say this with his pikrus and his cleverness and his smartness. He says, people start off doing something they're sure they got away with it once, twice, 3 times. They're sure that you get away with it forever. But he said, that's not the way it works. In the end, somehow, it comes out. And you get away with it for a certain amount of time. Not forever. And this is part of the message of our Mishnah. Don't say things that shouldn't be said, that shouldn't be heard, because they're going to get out. Most things that people say for 4 hours, just between 2 people, do become repeated. Things that are private eventually become public. Chazal said it based on the pasuk in Koheles as follows: Ki oif hashomayim, yoiliches hakol. It is an astounding Gemara, an astounding testimony of the silence of our sages. King Herod believed that the sages didn't accept him as a valid king. They saw him as a slave and a usurper, which he probably was, as we know. And in his ruthless reign, he had all the Chachomim put to death, except for one, Baba ben Buta, because he needed one scholar to give him sage advice. But in his immense cruelty, he blinded Baba ben Buta. He came to him once in disguised even his voice. He said to Baba ben Buta, he was testing the waters, he said to him, Herod has treated you miserably. So he said, yeah, what can I do? That's it. They said, well, why don't you curse him? You have the ability, why don't you curse him? But the sage Baba ben Buta responded, that's a apostle. It says, Al tekalu melech, don't curse kings. He said, he's not really a king, he's a usurper. So Baba ben Buta answered, it's a mamish Gemara, Baba ben Buta answered, maybe he's not a true king, but he's at least a leader, even if he's just a leader. He's a tycoon. I have to respect him for that. So again, urged him on. He said, he doesn't behave like a Jewish leader, he's amoral, he's immoral. He doesn't deserve that kind of respect. So he said, I'm scared of him. Baba ben Buta replied. So Herod, in secrecy, said to him, but nobody will know, it's just the 2 of us. And he answered that pasuk in Koheles, Ki oif hashomayim yoiliches hakol. A birdie in heaven heard what you said, and is going to take it on. Is it referring to angels? I don't know. It's referring to birds. I don't even know that. But what it is saying, 2 things. It's saying that it's almost a law of nature that the walls have ears, as it says in the Midrash, and as an American president made famous in the Second World War. The walls have ears. Secrets find a way out. That's the one thing that we see from this Maaseh. Second thing we see is the incredible strength of the silence of our sages. In such a situation, having been treated so cruelly, to have the depth, the strength of silence. It doesn't take gevura strength to say out with brazenness every irritation. It takes real strength and depth to be able to contain it within you, to not say it. But Ben Yonah says as follows: if it's a secret, don't say anything to anyone. Don't tell a soul. Because if you find it difficult keeping it quiet, you can be certain that the other person is going to find it at least as difficult. Dad spoke about this a lot, and particularly he would mention, as he said this, he would mention his late father-in-law, Rav Moshe Reuven Charich, mother's father, the Tzadik Livrocha, Nuchoy Eden, and he was very close to Reb Yerucham Levovitz, the famous Mashgiach of the Mir. They studied together in the Mir and in Europe. And Reb Yerucham famously said about my grandfather, about my dad's father-in-law, Reb Moshe Reuven is a Baal Sod. There is a Sod phenomenon. He said, what you tell Reb Moshe Reuven, what goes into Reb Moshe Reuven, locked in there, it will never go out. Some compare it to a balloon. As long as it's sealed hermetically, it's safe. This tiniest hole, the tiniest leak, with nothing left, it all runs out. There's a certain depth of character in being able to hold the secret. Even if you weren't sworn to secrecy, test as a character exercise. Don't say what you know, unless, obviously, the criterion calls for it. Someone's going to get hurt. It's very important information. Just something that you know. Our Mishnah says, don't say it. Practice. Practice being a person who is contained, who has that depth and that strength to have information inside. It is comfortable to stay inside. And again, it's very much, I mentioned once before that Dad had a special drawer, special place in his drawer for the letters that shouldn't be read. Some waited a few days, some a few weeks, some many years. Some have to me to read first, just to tell him if there was anything in it that was inflammatory. And some never. That's the Gevura Nafshis, but contained. And even when he read and when he heard, not everything was responded to. There's a man with this incredible capacity to make a decision, not to react. How to respond. What needs to be said? Just because you know something, no reason to say it. Not a word got out that wasn't by design the right thing to say, the clever thing to say, the helpful thing to say. Incredible containment. Interesting question is that what exactly is the connection between this Mishnah, this halacha, and the previous halachas of our Mishnah? Al tifrosh min hatzibur. Not separate yourself from the tzibur. Do not believe in yourself. Do not judge your friend. And now, don't say things she'ef shar lishmor that should not be said. And then finally, let's. I'd like to move on to another important explanation though in our Mishnah. Al toimar dover she'efshar lishma. Don't think. Al toimar. Don't say about a certain idea, I can never teach it to them. They'll never have it. They're not ready. They're not hearing it. Shofar lishma. Keep at it. Keep teaching. It's going to go in. Don't withhold from teaching people, saying it will never help. They're not holding there. It may eventually filter through. Dad used to often quote a word from a famous Kotzker Rebbe. Listen to this murder word. He used to love it. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. The words of Torah should be on your heart. Dad used to say, we don't know how to put words of Torah, of insight, of inspiration into anyone else's heart. We don't have the key. We don't know how. But that's not our job. Our job is put the words of Torah on your heart, al levavecha, on your heart, on the children's heart, on the student's heart, on your listener's heart. Al levavecha, just you plant a seed there and water it. Lots of warmth, lots of love, lots of prayer. Eventually, it'll find its way in. That's what our Mishnah says. Don't ever decide you can't teach these people Torah. Because Sofoi lehishama, eventually it will go in. It was the Rabbi Akiva method of education. Believe in the koyach of Torah. Just as the soft waters carved the potholes. And anyone who's been to the potholes sees the dramatic power of water. Torah will carve away and it will make a magnificent personality. Slowly believe in the koyach. Don't say, no one to talk to. Imagine if Dad and Mom had said that after they arrived. What? Yeshiva, what Makom Torah? There's no one here, no one to talk to. Imagine what the world would have looked like. Imagine what the city would have looked like. Just say it with warmth. Let the Torah find its own way. Imagine if Dad and Mom had said, we're here in South Africa, can't raise children as B'nai Torah in Africa. Who can do it? It's impossible. Imagine. They insisted. And Dad insisted. He spoke to us. Never push things into your mind and never push things into your heart. Al levavecha. But he never said it can't be said. Put it on the heart. Plant a seed. Be warm. Be gentle. No, you didn't even realize he was slowly raising you and conditioning you without direct mussar. So smart, you thought it was just casual conversation. You had the very ma'ile ala babecha, but he never gave up. Last line in the Mishnah. Al toimar lichshe efne eshne. Do not say that when I become free, when I have free time, that's when I learn. That's when I live the life that I want to live. Seize the moment now. Don't rely on future moments. Don't believe in time. The Meiri said, one of the Rishonim, time and tide and malchus and kings are the three liars you should never rely on. Tide, you can sail out into an absolutely peaceful ocean. There's not a ripple. Don't rely on it. Get a big boat, because in a flash, you can have a big storm. That's the way the tides work. Never rely on what it looks like. Time, he said, never rely on the fact that tomorrow, next year, retirement. Don't trust it now. Whatever needs to be done, if it's important, if it's significant, do it now. If it's difficult to find the time now, it's going to be even more difficult down the line. Again, the sharpness from the Kotzker Rebbe. He said, don't wait till you can learn with ease and peace of mind, because maybe it's exactly what Hashem wants you to do, is to learn and to live the lifestyle that he wants you to live right now under pressure, when it's difficult, when it's not convenient. It's very much like the Mashgiach who told his Talmudim, Mashal, don't wait till after the match to score a goal just because it's easier there's no goalkeeper, there's no defense. It's also less meaningful. Now, when there's the most resistance, when it's the most challenge, you may not get in as much learning as you would be able to do in a perfect day. But don't wait for perfect days. That's not what Hashem wants. He wants us to do our bit now, every day. Seize this moment. The Chofar Chaim said, Ki ha'aretz asher ata omed alea, the mokrim that you're standing on now is holy. Moshe was in the wilderness by Midian. Suddenly, Shechina, out of nowhere. Wherever you are, it's called holy soil because there's room to grow exactly from where you are. So the Rambam explains our Mishnah. Al toimar lichshe'efne. Don't say I'm waiting for retirement, for ease. Learn now, because you can never make up for what you didn't learn today. You think, no, I'll learn tomorrow. Yeah, that's tomorrow's opportunity. Today's opportunity is gone. Whatever you learn tomorrow belonged to tomorrow. It was owed to by tomorrow. You can never truly make it up. This word eshne, al toimar lichshe'efne, when I'm free from all other duties and distractions, eshne, then I will learn. The word eshne means I will learn. It also means I will repeat, review, Mishnah, see it again the second time. It's just by the way, the Mishnah is hinting that the ikar of learning is through reviewing. Think it through again. Whatever you thought you know already, and you're sure you know already, think it through again. Because shana means to learn and it means to change. When you review it, you think it through again, you create a deeper level of understanding. This is particularly important for us now because we're standing already in the days of Slichas, Erev Rosh Hashanah, Haba Aleinu L'Tova, Rosh Hashanah, a new year. New Shana. A Shana has two meanings. Shana is to repeat the cycle. Eshne. Shana means to learn. And Shinui means to change. And these are three messages that I think Siyata Dishmaya that we're learning this days before Rosh Hashanah. These three messages is how to approach a new year. On the one hand, it's the cycle again. We've had Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we go through the cycle again. On the other hand, it's completely different this time. We're different people. We've had different experiences. This year in particular, it's a completely different year. Haba Aleinu L'Tova. And it means to learn. Learn from the past, go into the future with your learning. That's how a Yid begins a year. That's how he navigates it. That's how he lives his life. Eshne, with his learning, with his reviewing, with his changing, with his cycle. And seize the moment, our Mishnah says, because we're in the middle of Elul, Slichas, Till Yom Kippur. These are days of divine closeness that are running. They're running moment by moment. You can't stop them. You can only help them. Seize the moment. Seize the moment. And it's on the Erev of Dad's Yortzeit that we're learning this line. So we have to think of it in terms of that. Don't say, I will learn. Dad often used to say, people who said, I will learn when I'm in retirement. Never comes. Don't say, I will learn when I'm older, greater, more successful. No, no, no. Do what you can do now. Seize the moment. Dad's passing. He leaves us with that thought, the thought of this Mishnah. Very much. Imagine had Dad said, who am I to bring Torah to a country where it doesn't exist? I'm not great enough. It's not my responsibility. Seize the moment. He did what he felt was his duty to do, and look how the world is different. Don't wait for the big moments and the big opportunities. Every day is golden. Every moment can be eternal. Dad seized the Shana. He seized it, rethought things. He looked at it again. He embraced the new. He looked forward to bringing the new, and always through the third of the shanas, the learning. Just to say, what's the connection between these two lines that we've learned tonight and the rest of the Mishnah? Our Mishnah was a way of viewing life. First one, don't separate yourself from the tzibur. Never do that. Find your place in the tzibur. Second one, al tamin ba'atzmacha. Don't make yourself into an etzer. Again, part of the tzibur. Third one, al tadin es chavercha. Don't separate your friend. Don't judge him. See him with the respect of being part of Klal Yisrael. The third one, al tomar davar she'i efshar lishma. When you're talking to people and educating them, so as dads, don't isolate the now when it comes to people. Take the long view. All education, all influence of people, all parenting. Take the long view. Don't isolate the now. That's the whole theme of our Mishnah. Don't isolate this person, not yourself, not others, and not this moment when it comes to education. But when it comes to your own learning and your own growth, don't rely on the long view. Seize the moment now. And I thank you again. It's been a zechus to learn this year for the Ilu Neshama. May our Torah be a zechus for His holy Neshama and an extension of all the wonderful Torah and chokhmah and warmth and love and education that He shared with all of us. He amassed many great zechuyos of the tzibur were affected by him. And our Mishnah is a continuation of that. He was very much, this Mishnah, Siyata Dishmaya, to learn this Mishnah, he was a master belonging to the tzibur, seeing your own identity, your personal, individual fingerprint within the context of a tzibur and communicating with the tzibur, taking the long view. And 60 years later, it's immeasurable what he achieved. Take the opportunity to wish you all Shana Tova Umetuka, a good, sweet year. Hashem should bless all of us, all Klal Yisrael Tova, the Ksiva, the Chasima. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those beautiful words, and wishing everybody a Ksiva v'Chatima Tova, a Gemar Chatima Tova, Shana Tova Umetuka.